Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be making fried chicken vegetable couscous. If you'd like to see how this recipe is achieved, please stay tuned. So for this recipe, I'll be using couscous. It's an healthy alternative to rice. It's low in fat and it's made with semolina and it's very good. I'm also going to be using mixed veggies. So these veggies as carrots, sweet corn, green peas, green beans. It's all mixed together in one. I'm also going to be using 4 chicken thighs for this recipe. I'm also going to be using coconut oil for frying, table salt, 1 onion. I'll be using tomatoes as well. I'm also going to be using fried rice seasoning, mixed herbs, curry powder, dry thyme, black pepper, 1 Scotch bonnet pepper, and 1 Knorr star cube for this recipe. So the first thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to show you how I cut my chicken thigh. So I start first by removing some part of the flesh, and next I put my knife close to the bone and to remove the remaining flesh from it. If you don't want to go through the deboning process, you can use a chicken breast that's without bones and it's easier to cut. So after doing that, I'm just going to cut it into tiny bits because that's how I want it to be in the fried couscous that I'll be making. So just cut into bits and do the same with the rest of it. So now I'll be marinating my chicken. I'm adding ground ginger and paprika. You can use whatever ingredients you have at home to marinate your chicken, but this is how I like marinating my chicken. If this is your first time visiting my channel, you are welcome. Please support me by subscribing to my channel as I upload new recipes every week, and I'll be glad to add you in the Moga's Meals family. So I added curry, thyme, black pepper. I'm also going to be adding basil and oregano to this recipe. Like I said, this is the ingredients I like using. You can use whatever ingredients you have at home to marinate your chicken. So I added a little bit of chili powder, and now I'm adding bouillon stock, and I'm also going to be adding 1 tablespoon of olive oil and a teaspoon of honey. I also love using this for my marinades. If you've watched my video, you know I like using honey for marinades because it's very good. Now I just add a little bit of salt, and I'm just going to give it a good mix and make sure all the ingredients are properly incorporated with the chicken. And I'm just going to leave it to marinate for about 30 minutes or an hour, or you can use it straight up. It's ready to use immediately. So you can see my chicken marinating with the tin foil over there, but right now I'm just going to make the couscous. So into a bowl, I'm adding curry. I'm also adding fried rice seasoning because I wanted to have the fried rice look before I fry it. I'm also going to be adding salt. I'll leave a description of the ingredients I use in the description box so you can see them as well. I added black pepper, dry thyme, and I'm also adding mixed herbs to it, and I'm adding 1.5 cup of couscous, and I'm giving this a good mix to make sure the ingredients are incorporated. So you want to make sure the couscous you're using, the same measurement of the couscous is the same measurement of hot water you will use for this recipe. Not really boiling water, just hot water. So I just added 2 tablespoons of olive oil to this, and I'm giving it a good mix as well. So I'll be adding my hot water. You can see it's not boiling water, it's just hot. I'm adding it to the couscous, and I will also be using the tin foil to cover it for about 10 minutes to allow the couscous to cook. So right now we'll be frying the chicken. So into a pot, I'm adding my coconut oil. You can add very little oil, enough to get the chicken cooked. I'm just pouring the chicken. You can hear the sizzle. You want to make sure your oil is quite hot before you add your chicken, and I'm just putting it into different sections of the pot. And you want to make sure you stand by the chicken and just keep flipping it like I'm doing to make sure they're not getting burnt, because you're cooking this on the medium heat. So you want to be there and keep checking on the chicken and making sure they are getting cooked. So while the chicken are cooking on medium heat, I'm just going to check on my couscous. It's more than 10 minutes right now. So I came back to check on my couscous, and you can see it's cooked. You just want to use a fork like I'm doing to fluff the couscous so they come out in individual grains. You don't want them to be clumpy or lumpy inside the food. So you just want to use your fork to fluff the couscous and make sure they are all in individual grains and they're all standing on their own. You can see how good this looks. I'm done fluffing the couscous, and this is how it looks right now. So I went back to my chicken and it has been frying for about 10 minutes or so, and you can see they are golden brown in color. They are cooked right now, so I'm just giving it a good mix, and I will just be removing it from the fire because they are cooked. So I'll be removing it into a bowl and set it aside because I'm also going to be adding it back into the couscous recipe. So I'm just removing it right now and putting it into a bowl. So now I'm just going to start cooking my couscous. So I added one chopped onion, the Scotch bonnet peppers into the pot, and I'm just going to give this a good mix. But I realized the oil in the pot was not enough, so I'm adding more coconut oil into the pot and allow it to sizzle a bit. Then I'm giving it a good mix to make sure it's properly incorporated with the onion and peppers on the fire. So the next thing I'm going to be doing, I'm adding my tomatoes that I showed you guys earlier on, but I didn't chop them because I want them to come out this way. So I left them the way they are with the stalk, but you want to make sure you wash it properly before using. So I'm also adding the mixed vegetables. You can see how colorful that looks right now. And I'm just giving it a good mix, and I'll be sauteing this for about 3 to 5 minutes to make sure they cook. So now I'll be adding my ingredients. I'm adding the curry. I'm also going to be adding the fried rice seasoning. Like I said, I want it to have the fried rice color. So I'm just adding curry and fried rice seasoning. That would do the job for me. And I'm giving it a good mix. And my vegetables are sauteing in the pot about 2 minutes now. So I'm also adding salt to this recipe. And I'm also going to be adding 1 Knorr star cube, like I said earlier on. I'm just drizzling it all over the recipe and giving it a good mix to make sure the ingredients and the veggies are properly cooked and sauteed together. So the veggies have been cooking for a while now and they looked cooked and good. You can see the tomatoes, how it's looking. So I'm just going to be adding my couscous that was already cooked earlier on into the pot a little bit at a time, and making sure I don't break my tomato stock because I want them to come out the way they're looking. So I'm just giving it a good mix to make sure it's properly incorporated. And if you're still watching and you've not subscribed to my channel, please support me by subscribing to my channel as I upload new recipes every week, and I'll be glad to have you in the Moga's Meals family. Thank you. And if you like this recipe, please give it a thumbs up and share so that others can see it as well. So right now I came back to add my chicken into the recipe, and I'm just giving it a good mix. You can see how beautiful and colorful this couscous recipe looks right now. The chicken is inside, the veggies are inside. You can see how nice it is. The grains are standing on their own. They're not lumpy, they're not clumps or in bits together. They're all looking good. You can see how lovely and yummy this looks right now. So this is the final look of my couscous. The tomatoes are all together like I said I want it to be. You can see the chicken, you can see the couscous, they're on individual bits and they look good and they taste yummy as well. Please leave a comment if you tried this recipe, and thank you for watching.